the Amazon stuff has also been happening. So I don't know a ton about it. I really only watched Hank Green's thing, which I'm sure you saw as well.
Well, the one thing I thought was interesting, and you can't prove it, but I did think, because the way that things are being written, that the Amazon had spontaneously caught fire, similar to how the California wildfires work.
Yeah.
Thought it was like, oh, the Amazon is burning. That's what everyone says. So I was like, oh, okay, that's surprising. And his thing made me realize, like, oh, someone lit fires in the Amazon?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So
This is my dog, by the way, everyone.
Yeah.
She's surely in frame at this point. Hi, girl.
She's going to make sure that you hear from her.
She hates when I don't pay attention to her.
Yeah. She's how old?
She is 3 months old.
Okay. So she's going to keep going forever. This is the next hour.
But the good news is, in 9 to 15 months,
she'll stop.
She'll be totally fine.
She'll take a nap, and it'll be great. The Amazon stuff. So it's what they're saying, and again, who knows, is that it's ranchers that. So I just think it's fascinating, and people are upset or maybe not upset. I feel like almost every problem can come down to economics, and you go, what's driving this economic engine?
Yeah.
And the answer:
stop eating beef.
Stop eating beef.
It's hilarious. I was thinking the same thing. Just stop eating beef. The Amazon doesn't have to get caught on fire. You don't have to torture any of the cows.
Yeah.
Now, a bunch of other stuff, bad things happen.
You got to figure out how to source the food.
I just found out about bottom trawling. Do you know what that is?
No.
It's for fishing. So wild caught fish.
Yeah.
I thought was better because, farming, you don't want to farm fish. That's not their natural habitat. Apparently,
you got to scrape the ocean floor.
One of the ways, it's not all brands. I got to figure out how to tell who's doing what, but some wild caught fish, they just take these huge boats with these huge nets and they just trawl the bottom of the ocean, and it just takes everything: turtles, whatever sort of vegetation they have, dolphins, and salmon.
Yeah.
And so it just grabs them all in this net. It's horrible. It's just destroyed. Like, if you were to try to do it in the forest because you wanted to hunt pigs, it would immediately be illegal.
Yeah.
But no one cares about the oceans because you can't see them.
Well, to be fair, so this is the point that Hank Green sort of made, is America used to have a lot of forests.
Yeah.
We did that to the forests. They're prairies now. There's nothing there. We bottom trawled the heck out of those areas. We got a dust bowl because of it. I think when I look at this, one, economics drives it, but the other point that was made by this coffee break thing is that when you make a measure the goal, that measure becomes the goal. So if you go, don't eat meat, and that's your goal, don't just eat beef, you'll find another way to muck it up by just exploiting some other things. So the only goal could be a holistic, try to do the best constantly and try to figure out what the best is, whether it's for the earth or for people and constantly be thinking about these things, which is hard.
Well, one thing we've talked about is the idea of doing an environmental tax or an environmental fee, because we get those spam physical magazines still with coupons, which blows my mind because I just throw them out or recycle them immediately, and I can't believe it's worth it to someone to send me spam physical mail
that 99% of people will throw out. And
but the thing is, they don't have to pay for the destruction of it. They only have to pay for the creation of it. And if they had to pay for the end-to-end thing that they're creating, they wouldn't be able to do it. It wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, totally.
So I wonder if there's a way that we can pay Brazil to let us borrow the oxygen from the rainforest. You know what I mean?
But the demand doesn't go away. So say that, some cow somewhere else needs to eat grass. And maybe it's not as awful as destroying the rainforest, because that got there over tens of thousands, if not millions of years. And they talk about replanting, which is great, but that's not how rainforests grow. You don't plant a rainforest. The issue at that point, God, I can't even think.
She's very distracting.
You're out of control, girl. You're crazy. I'm going to try to subdue her.
The answer is don't eat beef.
Well, no, beyond it. The answer is that economics drives this. And even if not a single tree in the rainforest gets burned down, guess what? We still want paper. We still want cows. We still want all of these sorts of things.
Do we need paper? Is that still a thing? Can we get rid of paper?
I don't know. But even so, if you don't want paper, what is it that you got to be mindful about? Maybe that's not the best. I'm sure there's ingredients or things in iPads.
Come on.
Apple.
The iPad?
Apple.
Come on. Steve Jobs would never have allowed that.
That's true. St. Jobs would never. But it's economically driven, and I was thinking about this with regards to a lot of things, and people are up in arms, and I think part of the reason that they're up in arms about the rainforest, and this is probably going to get heated.
Oh, God.
I was wondering why certain things trigger people.
Yeah.
And why some things don't. There's a lot of, I think everyone would agree there's a lot of wonderful things in the world, and there's also a lot of things that are pretty bad. Mm-hmm. And some of them are close and some of them are far away, but some of them capture sort of the public's eye. And I think really the things that capture the public's eye are the things where you go, there's nothing I have to do to change this. Mm-hmm. So when you see, for instance, in China that they're having that festival where they kill a bunch of dogs, people lose their minds because there's nothing that you even could do or have to do to change that except freak out.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not eating dog. So
you Meanwhile, that evening, you post a photo of your hot dog and your cheeseburger and how tasty it is. You're not upset about the things that Pete is upset about. Now, Pete is upset about it because they've made the leap. They've made the leap to that, and they want other people to change. And what I see is, I think part of what triggers everyone upset about the Amazon is there's nothing they have to do to change about it. But if you told them, oh, no, this could be fixed, just change your habits.
Yeah. Just never eat beef again, and this will be fixed.
I did look it up. It's only 2% of that particular Brazilian beef is exported to the U.S., but it's mostly going to Asia.
I'm just saying if you told people that.
Yeah.
You might see a dimming in the number of upset people because they do a little math. They
totally. And I was trying to apply this to different things that are hot button issues.
Yeah.
And I think it makes a lot of sense. I look at gun control, and what I see with gun control is a perfect situation for people to get upset, which you've got one group of people who are adamant that guns are an important way of life, and another group of people, in which I count myself, that have never shot a gun, that have no idea what a gun is,
right.
And getting rid of every gun would be literally zero sacrifice to me. And so there's this never mind, and people are going to freak out, that it is not the number one way to save lives, that it's not the number one way to stop people from dying violently, which might be car accidents or enforcing the speed limit or having severe restrictions on drunk driving or breaking the speed limit, right? All things that we all like to do. We're far less adamant about it. And then we'll add a bunch of post hoc rationalizations about, well, this is different because it's so violent, or this is different because of XYZ. And I really think the commonality there is I'm angry because I don't have to do anything.
Yeah, totally.
I have to sacrifice nothing here. And it's hard to do, but what I am trying to do is when I find myself triggered by this stuff, go, one, look for your involvement. So with the Amazon, it's eating meat. It's being a heavy consumer of plastic goods in the takeout that I have and all that kind of stuff. And then going, okay, if I'm truly angry, time to make some sacrifices.
Yeah.
Because as hard as it is for you to not and me to not eat meat and me to take out less, that's as hard as it is for the corporation to not burn down the Amazon or the farmer, who it's probably harder for him to figure out another way of life other than cattle grazing. So what is my message? My message to myself, and then if anyone else is listening and is inspired, is look inside. I'm not saying that collective action can't work or isn't important. I'm saying that when you figure out how to change your ingrained habits, then you can potentially start to help a corporation or the world change theirs. But if you can't do it yourself, you got nothing to teach anybody.
It is, and again, I'm not trying to harp on this one, but it's just what is causing the particular rainforest one. But it is interesting that I see a lot of uproar about how bad the Amazon fires are.
Come here, go.
But no one is therefore, or not no one. Not a lot of people are therefore changing any behavior. They're not talking about using less paper or eating less meat. They're just talking about how it's really bad and we should stop it.
And not we, they should stop it.
Well, people like to say we. They like to say we in the sense that it's like, I want to be included in the credit for solving it, but not in the responsibility.
Which is tough because if you look at a lot of the world's problems, I'm not saying you personally are the biggest contributor, but habits that you have multiplied by the nation are.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at climate change, using air conditioning in a hot summer ain't so good. Eating beef, really bad. Flying, terrible. I think we looked at the top 4 things that we contribute. It was heat and air conditioning. It was it's not your phone charger.
It's also super easy to get a hybrid car now.
Also, hybrid cars don't necessarily solve the problem. The bigger issue is that you might not get to drive everywhere you want by your lonesome. You might have to sit on some public transportation. you might not get to fly all to take that amazing vacation and take that beautiful photo in Bali because of the amount of pollution that goes in. If you take it seriously,
but I want to do all that stuff. So
yes, and
maybe if other people just.
And so the question is, when you're asking, I think it's often difficult to recognize that you're asking someone else to sacrifice every time you're asking the world to change.
Yeah,
you're asking the farmer to sacrifice. You're asking someone to give up something that is near and dear to them. And you got to learn how to do it yourself, and it's no fun, and it'll make you more persuasive and less of a zealot, I find.
Yeah.
That's as I stopped eating, at least, because I still eat fish, but beef and all that stuff. I'm not, I recognize that it's hard.
Yeah,
I recognize,
sucks.
and I encourage people, but I don't scream quite as much as I think I would if I just thought about the problem.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a crazy world, man, right now.